Hi there, and welcome back to Seeing the World Through Trifocals. I'm your host, Eileen Wissor. I bet you thought I'd forgotten you, but nothing could be further from the truth. My only fear is that during the month that I took an R&R sabbatical, you might have forgotten me. I personally had a totally exhausting and exhilarating 17 days visiting with my exchange daughters in Eastern Germany and the Czech Republic. Bill and I even took part in the wedding of Tanya and Sasha at our first stop in Bad Dreiberg, Germany. No, I'm not going to show you the photos from our trip, all 800 of them. But I will tell you that it allowed me to see through my trifocals in a different way. I didn't just look through my lenses, I saw through them. And I learned that no matter what language people are speaking all around you, they are still experiencing the same joys, sorrows, worries, frustrations, anxieties, and thrills as we do. There was one place, though, that I visited where senior citizens have one less concern to worry about than any place else that I encountered. And that was in Prague, Czech Republic. You see, in that city, all senior citizens are free on any public transportation. If you're on the tram, the bus, or even the local train, it's free. Plus, when a senior citizen gets on, someone always gets up out of their seat and lets them sit down, even if it means they will have to stand. Anyway, good manners, which is what we used to call it, hasn't completely gone away. For most of my life, I lived in Texas. And just so you plastic cowboys know the truth, a real man removes his hat, whether it's a cowboy or a baseball hat, when he's talking to a woman. And when he enters someone's home, a church, and most times when he's eating in a restaurant, he takes it off. Oh, and by the way, they called me ma'am whether I was 36 or 66. For a short person like me, they couldn't have made me feel any taller. Oh well, no more squirrel chasing. Oh, by the way, do you like my t-shirt this week? The road of life is paved with flat squirrels who couldn't make a decision. I thought it fit so many situations and people. I really liked it. But there really are situations when procrastination is somewhat justified. Like when I was in Prague and the menu was totally in the Czech language. I ended up ordering what turned out to be sauerkraut soup. Well, the name in Czech sounded good, so I said, okay, I'll have this. Well, it actually did turn out to be really good. In fact, this happened to me on more than one occasion. When those around me heard me order my meal and sort of rolled their eyes and smiled, and a few even under their breath said something like, American, I knew that my meal was going to be quite an adventure. But then, isn't that what life is all about? Adventure? A life without adventure is boring. It's being in a rut, and we all know what a rut is. It's a grave with the ends knocked out. I felt quite sure that this would be my last overseas trip, and the thought of missing anything depressed me so much. I actually considered calling it quits, sitting on a park bench until the train came to take me home. Now there's an adventure for you. Train stations and airports, but that's another story. It was at that point that I remembered my t-shirt. I right then and there decided I was not going to be a flat squirrel. I was going to reach for the stars, which is exactly where I had my greatest adventure and revelation. Okay, now first of all, you need to know I am afraid of heights. Well, I'm not really afraid of being up high, more of falling low. Anyway, before our trip, I watched an episode of a PBS Rick Steves show where he talked about the Bastei in Bad Schandau, Germany. It was located in the Saxon-Switzerland National Park, and it's known for its huge boulders, deep ravines, and the remains of a 16th century castle on the very top. I couldn't at that time picture anything more out of my comfort zone than going there. But this is a place where our second German exchange daughter, Maria, had picked out for us to specifically see. So we arrived by train, and we took a bus up the mountain to the park entrance, and then hiked up further to the restaurant on top. Now, whether you drink alcohol or not, after you've been to a place like this, you need a place to unwind. In order to get over, though, to the best views, I had to walk more. I had to walk across a rock bridge created by water erosion over 1 million years ago. It rises to a height of 1,000 feet and is considered to be the majestic throne above the Elbe River. It was at this point that I lost my husband and daughter. They looked straight down and said, "Sheriff, you're on your own." So now comes the moment to make my decision. Would my adventure end here before it really started? Would fear win out? Would I turn back and later tell people not what I had experienced, but what I missed? I stopped and said to myself, "Self, you came this far. Now, remember 2 things. First, remember that quote your daughter gave you that one time? It said, 'You are a wild woman, stronger than you know, more beautiful than you think, and worthier than you believe.' And second, and even more important, in Philippians 4:13 it says, 'I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.'" My decision was made. I waved to my husband and Maria and started across the bridge. I promised to take lots of pictures so they would know what they missed. I said, "Come on, Jesus, let's go for a walk." And step by step we went forward. As I walked the trails and took pictures, I saw sights that I could never before imagine. Even after having seen them on TV, they were unbelievable. I came to one spot where there was no one else around. And I just stood there and looked out, and it was like I heard God say, "Look down." Well, I did. I looked down, and I saw danger, danger. I saw death waiting for me to make one slip. I felt fear. And then I heard God say, "Look out." And I did. And I saw a beauty unfathomable. I saw life clinging onto the side of the mountains and rocks. I saw a tree standing alone on the top of a distant rock tower. And it seemed to be shouting to me to bloom where you're planted. There's beauty everywhere if you just look ahead. God said, "Look up." And I did. And I saw a beautiful blue sky with white fluffy clouds to my right, and approaching on the left were a bunch of gray clouds. In the breeze that hit my face, I heard God say, "I'm here. I cover everything. I see your times of fear, and I provide a bridge, a rail, and the strength to go forward. I see the happiness in your face when you recognize the beauty I created for you to experience, enjoy, and to learn from. And greatest of all, I see the peace in your heart when you truly grasp that I am with you always, through all things. I will never ever leave you, whether you're in the sky, on land, under the sea, in the forest, in the desert, in the city, in the countryside, alone, or in a crowd, sick or well. Like the sky above, I am always here to cover you. If I wasn't a Baptist, I could have danced on that small ledge, because like Moses, I had encountered God on that mountaintop. I truly don't know what is around the next bend, but I know that God will be there before me, with me, and behind me. And the amazing thing is, He is omnipresent. So He's there for everyone, not just me. I'm not special. I'm just an ordinary person. But the last thing God revealed to me on that walk was that that's all He's got to work with. Ordinary people. Step out. Say yes to the next opportunity. You don't know what adventure lies ahead. And medical science repeatedly says you will age. But you don't get old until you decide you are old. Until next time, start each day as an adventurous step towards getting younger. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week.